Hi everyone, so today I want to show you this card. It's a shutter card, but it's kind of a bit different to ones I've seen previously. I've not actually seen this one before. So this is one that I saw on Pinterest by someone called Karina. I'm not going to try and pronounce her surname because I can't, but I will put a link to, well, I'll mention her name in the description below so you'll be able to see. So it folds flat like this to fit in an envelope for a 5x7 card. And then when you get it, you open it up and you have this lovely shutter card like this, and it's just really nice. Now the way you can decorate it, I've decorated this differently to how I'm going to do the card today. This is just a bit easier because you've got squares and then you've got strips and more squares, but the way she'd done it is she'd done this as one piece and this as one piece. So I'm going to attempt to do that today. Hopefully we will have success. But yeah, so that is the card for today. I've used these are my Mum's the Word papers, as are these. And this butterfly is from my Dragonfly Dreams kit. They are available as a digital kit over on DRK Crafts. And they're also available as Amazon paper pads. So if you go to Amazon, all the links will be in the description below. So let's get into it. Okay, so you need to start with a piece of base card that is 7 inches by 11 inches. And you're going to score at 4 inches and at 7 inches along the long edge. And then we're also going to do some scoring 1 inch in and 1 inch in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm actually going to measure. In fact, I'm going to do this on the back so that then we can see what we're doing. So on the back here, I'm just going to come down an inch and make a mark, and the same along the bottom. I'm going to come, well, on this other side and come down an inch, and then from that inch, in fact I should just do it as I've got it laid down. From that inch I'm going to come down, so I'm going to make a mark at 1 inch and then also at 1, 2, 3, at 4 inches as well. Okay, and do the same on this side, so you've marked at 1 inch and also at 4 inches. And I'm going to turn this round, and on this side here, I'm just going to lay my ruler down, line the 2 dots up, and then I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to make a little mark at 1 inch, and I'm going to draw a line all the way from there across till we get to an inch in, so at 10 inch, which is here. And these will be cut lines. And then I'm going to do the same with this other line here. So I'm going to line up my 2 dots. I'm going to come an inch in, just make a little upright mark so I know where that is, and then draw all the way across till we get to number 10, and then do a little upright line again. And then I'm going to come in, and I know where my 1 inch is, so I want to kind of find the ridge and then just score. And you're just scoring in between those 2 lines. And I'm going to do the same over here. So I'm going to find the 10. Which is there, and then just score between the 2 lines there like that. Okay, and then we want to go ahead and cut our pencil lines. So I'm now going to cut between those, so where I do my pencil line, I'm now going to cut down that pencil line. Okay, so I'm just going to flip this over now. So this is the right side, it's got this kind of dimpled side to it, and then what we're going to do is I'm just going to fold both of these forward and back, because one part of it will need to be one way and the other part will need to be the other way. So I'm just going to go ahead and burnish my fold. You could fold this before you go ahead and cut, but the only problem with that is that then when you're cutting you haven't got a nice flat surface, so it kind of swings around about. That's what's best thing to do. So once you've folded them one way, what you want to do is this one here is going to be a valley, mountain, valley, mountain. So we're going to pop this one out like that, and then that's going to be a mountain, that's going to be a valley, going the other way, like that, and that's going to be a mountain. And this one, you are going to have to battle with it a little bit. It does fold down flat, but it just folds down in a certain way. So just for now, while you're kind of getting it all in place, just give it a bit of a burnish. Okay, and then with regard to the top, this is going to be a valley, that's going to be a mountain, and the same at the top. So if you just kind of fold it down like that for now, and then we will deal with a bit more you know, getting it the right way around after. So let's just deal with this, like that. And then when you do fold it, what happens is this will come over like that, and these two bits, so if I put it this way around, this will come over like that, and then like that, and like that. So it's a little bit of a conundrum to kind of get it together. But anyway, that is your base card. So now what we want to do is start decorating up. And as I said previously, I'm going to be doing this the more complicated way. So if you want to decorate this the way I did on my sample card, like this one, then what you're going to need is you will need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of mat that are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and 6 pieces of pattern that are 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. Obviously I would do 3 of one and 3 of the other if you want to differentiate. Then you need 2 pieces of mat that are 3/4 by 6 3/4 for these two, and 2 pieces of pattern that are 1/2 by 6 1/2. And then along the top you need 3 pieces of mat that are 3/4 by 2 3/4, and 3 pieces of pattern that are 1/2 by 2 1/2. Okay, and then obviously toppers. And then what I would also do is get 1 piece of white to go on the back. You can put matte and then white if you want to, or just go straight with with white. And this one, if you just do it this way around, is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. If you want to put a matte underneath it, then your matte will be 2 3/4 and your white piece will be 2 1/2. Okay, so that's the kind of easiest way, but I liked the look of the way we're going to do it today. So just so if you want to do that easy way, you can. So with this one, what I've done is I've taken a piece of paper, I've taken a piece of pattern paper, and it's one whole piece. Let me just see, it was a one whole, oh no, that's because that goes in the middle. So it was one whole piece. So if I put this together, can you see the pattern extends all the way across? And so this piece measures 9 1/2 by 6 1/2. And then what I've done is I've cut one panel to be 3 1/2, then the middle panel is 2 1/2, and then the outside panel is 3 1/2. Okay, so that's what I've done. But what I'm going to do now, so with the mats, you have got 2 pieces that are 2 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then 1 piece that is 2 3/4. Sorry, so what's this one? This is 3 3/4 by 6 3/4. That's 2 3/4 by 6 3/4. All the correct measurements will be up on the screen, so if I get it wrong at any point, just check what is on the screen. Okay, so let's start with the mat. So what we're going to do is I'm going to lay this onto here like this, and then I'm going to, now I'm not quite sure, let me do it on the, I'm going to do it on the opposite side. This is my Dragonfly Dreams paper, but I wanted to use the matte side of it. And what I think we're going to do is, now you could cut yourself out a template. That would be the ideal thing to do for this. I'm very hesitant at doing this just because of I've done this before and it doesn't work out, so I'm just a bit nervous about doing it. But I'm going to mark. So I've laid it into place where I want it to be. So I want it to be like that. That's with my border. So if that was like a full piece, that's where it wants to be. I've noticed this comes down about 1/8 of an inch gap. So I want 1/8 of an inch here. So I've made a mark here, 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to measure that. So that is 3/4 of an inch. So I'm now going to make a little mark over this side at 3/4 of an inch. And then I can join those two marks up in a minute. I'm going to do this at the bottom here. This measures 3 inches. So I'm guessing it's going to be, yes, 2 3/4. So I'm going to put this at 2 3/4. Make a little mark. I'm going to come over here, put it at 2 3/4, make a little mark. I'm going to join these two lines up like that. Just make a line, join them both up, and the same on this side, join both those marks up like that. This is why people buy dies for this kind of card, because it just makes life a lot easier. Right, so then let me just carefully turn that round. I am also going to need to come in 3/4 of an inch here, make a little mark there, 3/4 inch from the edge in here, make a little mark there. join those two marks up, and hopefully that will provide me with the correct shape for my mat. So if I go ahead now and cut this out, it should hopefully make the right shape. Okay, so that's that. Let's have a quick look then. So that's what it looks like. That's my spare piece, but I'll need that in a minute. And hopefully this will fit on here. Yes, and it does. And it has a nice border. Wonderful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this as a template on my other piece. So, not that one. I need this one. My other piece of mat. Remember that you want to go face to face. So I'm going to turn this over like this. Lay that on the top. Matchy matchy all the way up. And then I'm going to very carefully draw some lines. I'm not actually going to draw a whole line. I'm just going to kind of do a little marks here and there because it's sort of quite thin paper. And if I try and draw a line, I'm probably going to make a mess. So like that. And then we want to go ahead then and cut this side out as well. Okay, so that's that bit done. Little tip, if you're going to do this, just try and remember, I've actually just made those pencil marks on the right side of my mat, which I didn't really want to do, but I've managed to cut them off, so it's fine. So that's going to go on there like that. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and cut the pattern paper. So I'm just going to, this is the right way around. This is for this side, but I don't want to draw lines on the front, I want to draw lines on the back. So that's why I'm flipping it over to this side. And then what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to bring my ruler in. If you've got a little mat like this that you can kind of put it on so you can shimmy it around, that helps. Going to get it so we've got about the right border everywhere, about there. And then I'm going to bring this in, and we want 1/2 inch at the top. So from the top of that pattern paper, I'm going to make a little mark at 1/2 inch, and the same, and at the bottom we're going to mark at 1, 2.5 inches, which is here. And so with it laid so that mark is at the top of my pattern paper, I've marked at 1/2 inch and at 4 inches. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to mark at 1/2 inch and at 4 inches, like that. Turn it round very carefully, and then we're going to draw a line between the two, like that, and also over here, like that. And then we're going to come in from this edge of the pattern paper, not the mat, from the pattern paper, and make a mark there. So it's actually at 3 inches if you laid it, you know, if you're just measuring along the line. And the same here at 3 inches. And then we're going to draw a line between these two marks, like that. And then that should be fine, hopefully. So let's move these two out of the way so we know where they are, but we're not going to lose them. So that's our template. Now what I am going to do this time around is I'm actually going to be daring. I'm going to take both my pattern pieces, put them face to face because I want opposites. I want them to be opposite. So face to face, and I'm going to cut them at the same time. This is incredibly tricky because you could go wrong and ruin both pieces, but I'm going to take that risk. So we're going to cut down here. One thing I do want to do is just put a little upward arrow on my piece, and this is going to be my left hand side. So I just want to make sure I've got that written down so I don't end up forgetting, because these pattern pieces kind of, well, some of them won't matter but some of them will, so I'm just going to write it down anyway. Whether I need them or not I don't know, but that's like that. Turn this round. So then I'm going to take this out very carefully. I'm just going to write on the back of this. I don't think I'm going to need it, but just in case I do. So that's those two. I think these are the bits I don't need. But anyway, I'm going to just keep them for now, just in case I do. So that's that. So these should now hopefully fit nicely onto our mats. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these down onto the mats. And yeah, they do, they fit nice. Good, that's probably the most successful version of this I've ever done, I think. I usually have problems, but yeah, very good. So I'm going to go ahead and stick those down. Right, so I've stuck both those down. They're not perfect, but they're pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick them onto my actual card. Okay, so you should end up with that. So now what we're going to do is take the other piece, which is my middle piece. Now this, you could cut up as separate strips if you want to. I just did it as one piece because it just made it easier for me. So this bottom section here, you need your mat to be 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and your pattern is 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. Because I wanted the pattern to continue, what I thought I'd do is I'd just cut a 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 inch bit off the bottom. This would be extra, and then I'd cut my 1/2 inch strip off the top. So I'm going to go ahead now and just cut these down so that they fit. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut that big strip down. So I've got my little 1/2 inch at the top and my 3/4 by 2 3/4 at the top. And then these two here, that's a 2 1/2 by 2 1/2, that's a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So I'm going to stick these two down and then stick them onto the card base. Okay, so that is the outside pieces done. So then on the inside here, the bits that we had left over, you know, the bits we cut out from these mats, I've just cut down so they're 2 3/4 square. And so they're going to go on there like that. Okay, so then I've cut myself out 3 more pattern pieces. So those pieces that I cut out of these, I'm not going to use that on this card, but I wanted to use a different pattern. So these are 2 1/2 by 2 1/2, and I'm just going to stick these down in the middle here. Okay, so that's those stuck down. So then I want to go ahead, turn this over, and in this middle one here, go ahead and put a white piece, and I've just done this as a mat, so this is actually 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. If you want to, you can do a mat that's 2 3/4 and do your white as 2 1/2. It's really up to you, but I thought I would go, because I just thought I'd go straight with the white. You could also go ahead and put a piece here if you wanted to. You could put your greeting here. Lots of different, possibilities. I just thought I'd go for the middle. You might also want to just rub any pencil marks out that you can see. So then, that folds up like that. So then what we want to do is decorate the middle. So what I've done is I've cut out, and these are out of my Mum's the Word pack. So I've got a flower here, and I've got another little bouquet here. And then I've got a thank you, which is an In Love Art Shop, in the middle. And so I thought I would just do like a little flower. I might do it that way around actually, like that. And then the thank you in the middle. So nice and simple. You could add way more if you wanted to, but I thought I'll just keep it a bit simple and a bit nice. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick those down. So there you go, it's nice and simple. I haven't gone overboard with the decorating. That's how it folds flat to fit in your envelope for your 5x7. That's the other one. And then you just hold both sides and pull it slightly, and then it stands up on your desk, or your mantelpiece or whatever, like that. And it really does look quite nice. I think this is a calmer way of decorating it. This feels a bit busy, but then I don't mind that way as well. That's kind of easier to cut out. Yeah, so you pick which one you like, but yeah, there you go. So if Karina is watching, thank you so much for your picture of your card. There were no instructions on the pin, it literally was just a pin. She'd done 2, so I saw 2 pins, but I couldn't find any instructions, so I've literally had to kind of figure this out by myself. So this is for a 5x7. I'm not sure of other sizes, but yeah, if you can find a instruction or tutorial from her, that would be great. Let me know. The papers that I've used, these here are my Mum's the Word papers, and then the embellishments are from Dragonfly Dreams. This one I've done it the way around, so the papers are Dragonfly Dreams, the embellishments are Mum's the Word. And then both of these are from the same set from In Love Art Shop. Really useful set, I use them all the time, as you probably know. They're just super good, and they're quite nice to just cut out a whole load and then just whack them in a box and you've got them there when you need them. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed today. Don't forget to go and check out all those different paper pads. If you want the digital kits, you can get them from DRK Crafts. If you would prefer to have an actual paper pad, then you can get them from Amazon. They're both available on Amazon. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, and we'll see you again next time. Bye!